This is an extremely crucial sales lesson that I've learned as I spend more time running my business and meeting more people. Hi everyone, my name is Ken. I run a company focusing on corporate training, business consulting, and employee engagement. Right now, we have worked with more than 10 multinational companies and more than 2,500 employees across 15 different countries, including Canada, Australia, Germany, China, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, and so forth. Now, when I started doing sales for the very first time in a non-formal employment setting, I was about 16 years old. And at that time, I was able to gain the liking of a lot of potential prospects. So what I was doing was that I was a volunteer for my high school in an international school fair. So what we had to do really was to promote our school and invite potential prospects or parents to the school's open day in a few weeks from then, which was the International School Fair. And at that time, I was a pretty articulate kid. I could, share about the offering to the school. I could share about my own experiences, teachers, friends, and so forth. And people were impressed. And I thought that, it seems like a prerequisite for being an effective salesperson is that you are articulate and eloquent as you share about your own offerings, your own industry, whether it be a product, service, idea, whatever. And I was right for the most part because people do want the salesperson or their salesperson to be articulate, because if they are not, then it's a sign that perhaps you're not competent. Well, the cool thing or the interesting thing about how people gauge how competent a person or how prestigious they are from a social status perspective is that people gauge competence based on your social skills. So if you happen to be really articulate, people automatically associate you with being prestigious and having high social status, deserving of respect and perhaps honor. The same goes to if you're confident. So if you're confident compared to if you're not, people are more likely to think that you possess high social status. But anyhow, as I spend more time in sales, though, I realized that being articulate can be a double-edged sword. So for the most part, maybe for most prospects and clients, being articulate is a good thing. But the lesson that I've learned that I want to share is that sometimes there are egotistical clients or prospects who may feel threatened by how articulate you are. And I really have experienced it. It sounds super funny. But with some clients whom, when I can detect that they're the type who would like to prove how good they are, and I associate them with being egotistical because most of them are anyway, then I'm very careful not to be super articulate. So in a sales pitch with egotistical clients who feel the need to prove themselves, for example, as I'm sharing about my offering, I would share perhaps 2 or 3 sentences and I would pause literally to signal that they can share what they have in mind if they would like. And 9 times out of 10, these egotistical people would move on to share, and the fact that they're sharing makes them feel good. So I would just pause and watch them share, and once they're done sharing, I would share another 2 or 3 sentences and then pause to signal that it's your time to share. And interestingly, that has done me a lot of good, because and the message is that before that has done me good because these prospects and clients who are egotistical and feel a need to prove themselves, they feel comfortable when they're speaking with me because they feel like I'm giving them a lot of opportunities to show how competent they are. And if they would like to do that, they would like to feel that, and more power to them. I'm not gonna barge in and try to show that I'm also articulate or whatever like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to prove how good I am, I'm just trying to close the deal, right? So I guess the lesson is that when you meet people whom you think are articulate and they feel the need to prove themselves, and they potentially also feel threatened by how articulate or eloquent you are, you wanna make sure that you take a step back and recognize that this is not the time for you to be articulate, but the time to allow them to feel articulate. And I think that inevitably will help to induce some liking in that person for you. So the lesson that I learned is that there's no one singular way to tackle different type of prospects and clients as you're doing sales. Yes, for the most part, people like if you as a salesperson are articulate, but there are some people who might not appreciate that and they would like to show how articulate they are. And if that is their preference, then more power to them, and we should allow them to feel the way that they would like. As long as we are able to close the deal, for me at least, I'm happy with letting them feel the way that they would like and act the way they would like. Anyhow, I hope that you found this lesson to be insightful. It's kind of a nuance that I think is pretty interesting to share. Share your thoughts and ideas in the comments. I'll definitely read and respond to them. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so. Like the video again, and until next time, I will see you.